Welcome to Feisty Chess. We've got black against d4. Let's play d5. And Queen's Gambit declined. It's been a while since I played my Tarrasch Defense. So here goes. c5 is a Tarrasch. And white will usually give black an isolated pawn. And that's totally fine. If he takes, I just push the pawn instead of recapturing automatically. White has options from there. Okay. Going into the main line, it seems, with g3. So the bishop on g2 exerts a lot of pressure on black's center. Bishop g5 is the next move, usually. White might throw in d takes c5, which just improves my king's bishop, actually. So yeah, the Tarrasch goes for piece activity at the cost of having an isolated queen pawn. I'm quite comfortable with isolated pawns. h3. Okay, he's preventing bishop g4. So I think I might as well prevent bishop g5 and go ahead and play h6. Also gives me some left for my king later on. Okay, I'm going to push c4. I'll probably play my bishop to e6, queen d7. That'll make white defend with king h2 at least. Kind of gain me a tempo there. And if I'm allowed to, I will push these queenside pawns. Unless white strikes at it with something like b3 here, those pawns can become quite dangerous if I get a6 and b5 in. Okay. If I go bishop b4, let's try this out. See how black wants to defend here. If he defends with his queen, yeah, this poses white a challenge. If he defends with his queen here, his queen will ultimately end up being on an open file with my rook. If he defends here, he's in a pin. And again, something like a rook coming to c8 after this exchange could prove problematic. And if he defends with his rook, well then I take here, and his rook doesn't open up his file, the a file anymore. So he defends with the bishop. I could go for an exchange already and then push b5. That would lead to an interesting imbalance. That bishop is my best piece, though. If I take on b3, I'm going to risk this. I'm going to give up the two bishops, and we're going to push these queenside pawns. I'll want to get bishop b7 in as soon as I can. And I can play knight to e4 whenever it's convenient for me. I suppose knight to d2 might be a good idea for white here. Maybe I missed a chance to throw knight e4 in there, didn't I? No. Well, yeah, maybe. I'll have to look at that. Knight e4 here might have been a good intermediate move. Okay, so he can't pry open the d file to attack the pawn with his queen. So my d pawn is now solid, and I have a protected pass pawn. I want to get a rook to e8. I want to get my rook off a8 as well. Maybe the bishop belongs on e6, but probably b7. We'll see what white does. I'll play knight e4 if I can. So yeah, white has an extra center pawn, but I've got this protected pass pawn here. Okay, I like knight e4, and I can follow this up with f5. Yeah, here we go. So maybe my bishop wants to be on e6, actually. It'd be good to trade that bishop for white's light square bishop, but well, bishop f5 is also an idea here. So bishop f5, he can take, and he wins a pawn. So I need to defend this with a pawn. Or I can just take his bishop. He'd have to recapture with his queen. That knight is great, though. Turbo Trattore. He's higher rated than me. I just noticed this. So hopefully that doesn't affect my thought process here. Knight takes, bishop, queen takes, knight, and then bishop f5. Can he still get e5 in? e4, I mean. e4. Yeah, my c pawn will hang. I think I better stick with my plan and expand over here. And he can't play f3 until he plays something like king h2. And even then, I can discourage f3 by playing like queen d6. Yeah, this bishop, you know, it's fianchettoed, and it seems to have lots of possible mobility, but this d-pawn really shutters that bishop in, so I'm not concerned about that in two bishops at the moment. Having a grip over e4 is nice in the Tarrasch, because it's one of white's main breaks, is e4. Okay, yeah, he wants to play f3, but I'm going to play, yeah, where I just need to get my queen on that diagonal. c7, probably d6. Yeah, and it will take him a while to prepare something like f3. Okay, and now I just need to get my bishop out, connect my rooks. Yeah, the queen on d6 also protects the knight on c6, which could be critical if I have to recapture or make a recapture like this at some point. Because this bishop is something I constantly have to fret about. So yeah, getting that rook off of a8 would be nice. I have ideas of knight b4 here too, if that's ever useful. Maybe I go a5 with that first. My bishop probably still wants to go on e6, but maybe I can play a rook to b8 first. Well, maybe the queen is better on c7. Now I have to concern myself with how to prevent this rook from coming to b7 if I move my bishop. I suppose I could bring it to a6, but then it's just going to get hit there. If I play a5 now, he's got rook a6. Sorry, rook b6. So I think I better contest this file. I do have my queen in a position to support it on the diagonal. So let's play rook b8. He can get his rook to the b file with tempo on my queen, but I'm not worried about that. My queen might be better on c7 anyway. So I got my rook off the a8 square, but now my knight's hanging on that same diagonal. I don't think there's anything white can do about that right now. He can't play f3 still. Okay, so now I think I want my queen on c7. Yeah, c7 looks a little better. I'm making a threat. My knight is hitting that f2 pawn. How's he going to guard it? I mean, that rook was the best way to guard it. He'll probably exchange, in which case I can take with my f pawn. And I've got a great looking center, and my rook is still hitting f2. Okay. Going for my center. So bishop e6, if he tries to double up with his queen, I've always got this capture. And then I can contest the b file if I need to. So bishop e6, I don't know, queen b2, knight takes, queen has to take. And then I challenge that rook on the b file. And if he takes, then I have control of the b file after queen takes b8. That looks pretty good. Problem is he can always interject a move like knight takes d2, knight takes e4. But yeah, I need to protect this center, of course. So bishop e6 seems to fit the bill. I might need to give up this knight for that bishop. In which case, white would have the better bishop. Oh, f4. All right, my knight is cemented there. Wow, I'm thinking about g5. But then after e3, I've only made my king less safe, haven't I? There's also knight takes g3 and then g5. But e3 seems to hold things together for white there. f4 is a real game changer, though. Maybe I go with h4, h5, and then plan h4. That looks like a pretty good plan. But maybe I just want to take care of white's active pieces first. I can always employ that strategy later, maybe. So, yeah, rook here, and he's got to take, I think. Doesn't have to, but he does. Let's claim that b file with our queen. Okay. I like taking with the f pawn here. He's going to keep his two bishops. Okay. Solidified the center. What do I play against here? Time for a plan. I have to admit I like white's position better. Maybe queen b3 and then I can go knight b4. If I can get that knight to d3, that's got to be a good piece, right? Problem with knight b4 right now is he can pin it. So queen b6. And planning knight b4. If he goes b6, sorry, if he goes a3, then maybe knight a4. Sorry, a5. a3, knight a5, and my knight's coming into b3. Okay. This gives me some initiative, doesn't it? There's a lot of pawns on the board for the bishops to be all that great against my bishop and knight. The problem is my bishop is on light squares. So looking at queen trades here, I mean, I think I need to. I'm getting knight b4 in. Hitting a2 here. It's either c2 or d3. Actually, you know what? A2 looks really powerful. How does he stop my pawn marching? Knight a2, and then I've got c3, c2 coming. It's just over, right? His light square bishop is shut down. Can't get over there. Knight a2. It covers the queening square and this dark square. The knight on the rim. You know, it's not how many squares you cover, it's which squares. Knight a2. It's funny, I won my last game with queen a2. A2 is my happy square lately. I just got to double check this. Knight a2. What can he do? He doesn't have a piece that can cover this again. Maybe he tries to get his bishop in. Push. I mean, yeah, no, I'm just going to play it. Knight a2. The a2 pawn wasn't the important thing. It was the a2 square. And this pass, you know, this protected pass pawn is going to win me the game. The queenside play on the Tarrasch. I almost didn't even consider a2 because it was just so ugly on the surface. The principle of the knight on the rim being so dim. I mean, he only hits 3 squares. But 2 of these squares are the exact squares I need to cover to win the game. So, yeah. All right, I have a new favorite square, a2. In the hinterlands of the chessboard. Yeah, he's giving it up right away. And I guess we'll play on here. This bishop is so shut down, though, by my knight. I can just park my knight here. His bishop is never getting anywhere, is it? Let's push a4. And I think my knight can just, yeah, my knight will, after I push to a4 next turn, my knight will grab that pawn. Bishop, I see. He wants to get his king in to attack that pawn. Bishop here, king, 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 and I've got to do something about it. So let's leave the bishop on that diagonal. If he brings his king in, I'll play here, and then he can't save his a pawn. Yeah, his king can come to the center. I don't care so much. His bishop is too slow, too. Okay, white resigned. Something like this. Let's pull up the analysis board here. Something like this. And I suppose, yeah, he can get here in time. I can also just get my king into the game at this point, though. Yeah, I mean, there's some technical work to be done here, but yeah, maybe I get my king in the game and somehow get my bishop over here, routed. I suppose I didn't need to push any further. I could have kept my pawn in a dark square, and then tried this, and then if he goes here, I just come back, and now I'm hitting a4, and there's nothing to be done. So yeah, okay, let's look at this. Where did white go wrong? So let's not turn on the computer yet. Well, you'll see that the computer likes white's positions in the Tarrasch Defense. Bishop e3. Actually, h3 here. Not a very commonly played move, but it makes sense. Yeah, rook e8, that would have been more principled, sticking with the Tarrasch idea. But I thought as long as I can prevent bishop g5, that's the most critical Tarrasch line here. Instead of h3, white plays bishop g5, and then we're going to plan is to remove this defender and at the opportune time take that pawn once, say, the knight gets out of the way of the bishop, or once this happens, the bishop has to recapture. There's lots of ways for white to put pressure on with bishop to g5, pressure on d5 ultimately. So I just ruled that out. Bishop e3. Yeah, c4 gives me a little more fighting chances here. Okay, it likes black. It probably doesn't like black after taking the two bishops, though. Oh, it still does. Okay. Now knight e5. Knight e5. Can I just support my knight? Oh no, because it's pinned. Look at this. This is the kind of tactics you gotta watch out for. Knight takes. No. Oh, rook b1. Okay, well anyway. Knight e5 would have been a critical try from white here. He went for the immediate exchange. Now knight e5 is still good. Unleashing the bishop to hit this, and if I take with the knight, he's going to recapture and unleash the queen on this, and I need to move this knight. So I have to go knight e4. He can trade. We've got opposite colored bishops on the board, and he can swap queens even. It'd be hard for either side to win that, but I have a passed pawn, but also this pawn could become weak on c4. A lot to follow there. Anyway, yeah, getting knight e4 in. Oh, the computer likes knight e7. I guess the idea is to prepare bishop g4, bishop f5, knight e7 and bishop f5. That makes sense. With knight e4 and then f5. Yeah, queen c7 might have been better here, just to keep an eye over this b7 square, so I can move my bishop freely and not have to worry about a rook coming into my 7th rank. Okay, so even after all these simplifications, it likes black, despite the two bishops. So that center, that big center must count for a lot. And it wasn't super tactical here. Oh, but queen to b2 was a huge mistake. I mean, ordinarily, if you have the two bishops and your opponent has a knight, you want to get the queens off the board, because the queen and knight can make a powerful attacking combo. And the two bishops, the more stuff gets exchanged, the more they can make their influence felt. The problem is the center is all locked up here, so I'm not sure the two bishops are worth too much. But the real problem, we're talking in strategic generalities here, the real problem is the concrete specifics of this position and how, yeah, knight b4. The computer saw all this well before I did. I was eyeing the d3 or c2 squares here to try to target this, or just to have my knight in a nice central position. But yeah, a2 is where it's at. That's how you control both c3 and the queening square. So yeah, it's game over here. I suppose I didn't even need to push. I could have just shored things up with maybe like g6. Just g6 here, and then white can't make this push that he wants to make. I mean, a4, that's just a useless move, and then I'm just going to win on the queen side. So yeah, that allowing him to get f5 in allowed him some counterplay and allowed him to get his king in. Much better position. But yeah, extra piece in an ending like this. It's not going to be too long until white's just out of ideas. So, thanks for the game. Turbo Trattore. I am in a really good spot here. That puts my rating up to 2140 or so. 2240. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been that high. So, exciting new frontiers. I feel like I'm playing really good chess, coming off of some blitz and getting that blitz out of my system and actually playing some sensible, logical chess here. So I got a 3-game winning streak. Probably I'll lose soon. But anyway, the important thing is stay feisty. See you next time.